Well, hello there once again. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good night, whenever you happen to be watching this podcast. My name is Marvinetta Woodley Penn, as some of you might know, and some of you might not know, but I am the host of All Stories Matter. Now, the reason I started this podcast is because I believe so wholeheartedly, so passionately that everyone has a story. I know everyone has a story. If you've been living on this earth any time, even a week, that baby has a story. From the time they were conceived, even before they were conceived, there were things going on that impacted that baby coming into this sphere. So we all have stories. And when we get quiet and we tune out the world, and it's possible to do that, we can get in touch with parts of our stories that we never even imagined possible. You can start to look at episodes, things that happened in your life, and you can start to make connections like, oh, now that I'm seeing this story or this part, I see why I made that decision. Oh, I'm looking at my father's story, and I see some of that in my story. So we all have these interconnected stories, but it's not until we really look at all aspects of our stories, appreciate all aspects of our stories, that we can appreciate who we are today, in this now. And one of the things that I've started doing at the beginning of my podcast is talking about a topic. I couldn't make up my mind if I was going to talk about friendship or if I was going to talk about staying present in the moment. I'm going to talk a bit about friendship and tie it into staying present in the moment. A few months ago, I decided that I would invite my friends from my hometown, women that I grew up with in my hometown of East St. Louis, Illinois. We all grew up there. Some of us went to the same grammar school, John Robinson, and the same high school, junior high school, Hughes Quinn, middle school, and then Lincoln, East St. Louis Lincoln High School. The other group of friends went to East St. Louis High School because there were only two high schools, public high schools in the whole city. Lincoln High School was built for the black children, and Eastside had always been a school for the white children. East St. Louis, when I grew up, was a very segregated community, but that's okay because we loved where we grew up. We were so proud to be Lincolnites. We had some of the most wonderful experiences growing up with teachers who cared, teachers who didn't care how we showed up, but they cared what was in our hearts. And they cared even more about preparing us for the next phase of life, which was college for most of us, because we went to school at a time when things were changing, when colleges were opening up, when opportunities were opening up. So a lot of us could go to college almost free. I know that sounds crazy, but yeah, we went to school almost free. When I graduated, I think I had $1,700 in college loans, and I refused to pay that until they said, no, you have to. So I did. But I contacted those friends about 3 months ago, and I said, hey, let's have a friendship celebration. Let's celebrate over 50 years of friendship. Because whenever I go home, I can call them. Whenever I'm in the area, I can call them, these ladies, and say, hey, I'm home. Let's get together. Let's meet here. Let's do this. And they're like, yeah, we're there. Tell us when and where. And we pick up like we did when we were in high school, when we would come home from college, when we got our first jobs after graduating college. So I says, look, I don't go to funerals. So don't haunt me if I'm not at your funeral, because I don't do funerals. But I want to celebrate you now. So let's get together and just have a friendship celebration. And we're doing that. I'm leaving tomorrow morning. I'm so excited. One of my girlfriends has a beautiful home in Swansea. She said we could all come to her house. So 25 women will come together. Some of these women I knew in high school, some of them I didn't know because they were friends of friends. They heard about the celebration. They were like, I want to be there. This sounds amazing. So I'm like, cool, everybody can come. We're not just going to celebrate our own group, but we're going to celebrate friendship. So that's something I want to dig into just a tad. What is friendship? What does it really mean to be someone's friend? So I love studying the root of words, where they came from, the etymology of words, how they were used when they were first being used, the Greek part, the Roman part, how everybody used it, Latin. And one of the words associated with friend was love, and another was free. I was like, what? So I'm the kind of person, if I do something, I have to do research on it. So I put together a booklet for my friendship celebration, and it has Carole King's You've Got a Friend, a couple of verses from that, and then it has the tenets of friendship. And then on another page, it has friendship is and friendship is not. And I decided that I would say that this applies to female friendships, male friendships, and female friendships. And then on the back cover, I have a lot of quotes about friendship. And then I have a heart. So it's a really cute booklet. But the thing that really got me was I looked at it at the friendship is and friendship is not section. And I said, oh my God, I have not been a friend as much as I thought I had been a friend. I had to check myself. I was so glad that I put that together, and I let several people see it. Some people thought it was really cool that it was there. Other people said, why are you trying to teach? This is supposed to be just a friend time, just a celebration. And I think that every moment is a teachable moment. And I want people to just look at that. And no one has to say anything out loud, but are you really being a friend? There can be levels. But I think that not everybody's going to be your best friend, the person that you know you can call at 2 o'clock in the morning, and they'll pick up the phone if they see that it's from you. But there are certain things, certain concepts, certain principles, certain behaviors, certain ways of being that we can all do for everybody. We can all do for everybody. And I found myself like, oh my God, I don't do this. So now that I know better, I can do better. So as you think about the friends in your life, the people that you call friends, when you talk about them, I challenge you to look at yourself. Am I truly being a friend? Am I holding them to a standard that I don't even hold myself to? So that's my rant for the week for this podcast. Look up friends. If you'd like to know more about a friendship celebration, hit me up. Hit me up in the comments. Find me. I'm very available. I'm available at marvinettapenn@gmail.com. I'm going to do a talk on the gift of friendship at Unity Church of Kalamazoo on August 2nd. And it's going to be a really interesting talk. And then after the talk, I'm going to have a workshop on friendship. And we're going to do some improvisations in that workshop. So if you're interested, please, please, please hit me up, marvinettapenn@gmail.com. Now, I'd like to segue into a conversation with a young lady that I consider to be a friend. I have not known her long. I met her in a sister group, and love being a part of this sister group because it's just a group of women, 4 or 5 women. If we're lucky, we might get 6 or 7. But it's a pretty consistent group of 4 women who get together on a monthly basis and just have conversation. Just hold one another up. Just sit around a table. Of course, we have to have some snacks, and every gathering you must have a few snacks, so we'll all bring in something for the snacks, and we have social time, and then we'll just have a conversation about whatever the group wants to talk about. And it's a beautiful space. So I met this young lady there. The first time she didn't say very much, but her spirit was so warm that it just touched everybody in the room. And I was like, I need to get to know her more. The more we talked, she came to a few things that I was sponsoring, and I'm so grateful for that. But the more I knew, I need to hear more of her story. So I invited her to be on the show. And she is the reason that my show has gone into June. Normally, I would have ended it at the end of May, picked it up again in September, but she was not available until today. So I'm so happy to have Emily as my guest, Emily Pyne as my guest today. And Emily, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
I am so glad that you were able to come. Emily works, and she is so stylish. She comes in from work every time we have a gathering. Every time I see her, she's so cute. Emily, just stand up. Just let everybody see your little. Is that outfit too cute? And she's a dancer, as you can tell. Yeah. So, Emily, what do you work? What do you currently work?
So I work at Western Diversified Plastics.
Okay.
And I'm an accountant. I work in accounts payable. So I love numbers. I love my team, and I love the business who I work for. I graduated. I was born and raised in Matawan and graduated in Matawan. So landing back there as my career just feels like home. It's familiar. There's a lot of people that I've run into that I've known from the past, or that are just lifelong family friends,
Yeah.
So it feels natural. It feels comfortable. And it's challenging, which I like. I like to be challenged. I get some growth through it, and then I also fill a lot of other cups socially because it's a good group of people. So
Awesome.
I'm very blessed. And if I can just share a quick story.
Sure.
We had a couple of gentlemen in the office who worked in a department, and both of their wives became pregnant at the same time. And one of them ended up taking a new position at a different job. So they left, but we still have the one there, and we had a baby shower for him on Monday, and the girls in the office kind of put it together, and we surprised him. Oh. And it was one of the coolest things that I bragged to my kids about it because one, that's the first time I've ever experienced celebrating. Usually the women we do that for each other, but the fact that we took the time to do this for a male, I thought was awesome. It just was a special time just to get together, and it made me just 100% more feel like I'm in the right spot, that you're just in a good group of people who support each other, and just these cool things happen all the time, and it's nice to be around that. You thrive in that, right? Yes. It's a good place to be. So
what was his reaction? Because you said it was a surprise.
Yeah, so we had heard through the grapevine that he had had a baby shower a couple weeks ago. Okay. So we kind of put an email out to everyone, and asked if anyone wanted to pitch in and go in on something. And so we ended up ordering something off the registry. And then we have a lot of people on site right now, guests. Yeah. So it's very busy. We couldn't like plan or secure a room. So we just quickly threw it together in like the copy room. And his reaction was awesome. He definitely got red-faced, which I think anybody in that situation was. But with the extra money she had, she bought some outfits and a book and stuff. So he like pulled each outfit out of the bag, and everybody was surrounding him going, "Oh, how nice. Oh, that's cool. Good job, Tracy." You know, and then they decorated his cube and put on the outside of his cube, said it was going to be a girl, and like put pink streamers. And so people who were not aware that he and his wife are expecting then were able to stop and go, "Oh, congratulations. This is something new for you." And like just, I remember when I was pregnant and having like the force of the community behind you, supporting you, even though they're not directly in the home, with intimately, it's just having that energy and that support and that push is just, it's so good for the two parents being brand new parents and the baby,
Indeed,
all that love
the community
we're pouring into him is going to pour into his wife and into his child. And I think it's fabulous. So.
And how many people give baby showers for the dad?
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's why I was bragging
I
to my
see
kids.
that could be the start of something, a whole other industry. Baby showers for dads.
Yeah, it's really
Because that really ropes dad into the whole process. Oh my God, you're in it to win it from the very beginning. Well, you're in it already. You created the child. You helped create the child. But this is like a public indoctrination, and in a warm and friendly and loving way. He's pulling out the outfits.
Just so cool.
That's connecting him more. I know he couldn't wait to get home and tell his wife.
Yeah. It's just another like check mark on the list of things that are just like, there's really good people all around here, and it's just nice. Awesome. And it's friendship, just to kind of segue to that, there's multiple levels of friendship, and you're gonna experience that across time. It's being able to embrace that you do have those different levels and what is fulfilling out of them. So, but there's lots
what
of
is
friendship.
Fulfilling in each one of them. Indeed. So you were born. Let's go back to the beginning.
Okay.
This is because, I see. This is already great. So you were born in Matawan. Is that right?
Yeah, in Pawpaw. Yep. I was born in Pawpaw.
Okay. All of it's the same to me because I'm not from
Kalamazoo. 6 miles away. So it's Matawan, Pawpaw. Yep.
Okay. So you were born in Pawpaw. How long were you there? Or
so I was born in that hospital, so we had a house in Matawan.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. You were just born in Pawpaw.
Yep, born in Pawpaw. Grew up in Matawan from being a baby all the way to graduation. So I went to the same school, was in the same group of kids.
Yeah.
The same grade. And, people would come and go, but there were quite a few of us who from kindergarten until graduation had been there that long.
So what are some of your best memories from growing up in Matawan? Going to school there.
It's changed a lot because the schools have been torn down and then rebuilt. New schools have been built, which is what needed to happen to accommodate the now influx of children, and really things needed to be modernized too. So, but in the beginning, the early elementary, kindergarten to second grade, we had a big playground, and there were a line of pine trees on the perimeter. And I just remember playing in the pine trees all the time with friends. That was one of my favorite things to do. The school was just always a safe place. I liked school.
I did too.
Socially, I think I'm still a little awkward, but I'm not. I think sometimes we're more critical of ourselves or in certain tones, but definitely really enjoyed it was a safe place. I'm so thankful my school was safe. I had great teachers. We just always had support there. So from home and school to home, it was just, I always felt safe. So I remember playing, being safe, having good friends. The town is really small, so I was able to ride my bike all over, and it was lovely.
Yes.
So
Was there a teacher who stood out for you? Maybe she was hard on you and you didn't really appreciate it, but
I have a story
yes,
from pretty
please.
much each grade about every teacher. But
Let's go.
for good reasons because of the impact. So kindergarten, the teacher that I had, my brother and my sister also had. So they're 4 and 5 years older than me. So when I came in, my last name was known because there was a brother and sister before me. So that can be good and bad based
Indeed,
on
I experienced that. Yes.
what they left behind, the cookie crumbs they left behind.
Indeed.
Which I had good brothers and sisters.
Good for you.
The name was good. But we are very, very different, and we've always been different in just our personalities or characters. So kindergarten, Mrs. Dubnicka definitely helped kind of I don't know, there wasn't a lot of connection. I don't know how much a kindergartner can say about that, but I don't know if I had some resistance in that grade, but I was held back. I didn't get to go right into first grade. They told me that I needed to go into bridging room. So instead of going from kindergarten to first, I then went to bridging room. And again, being so young and small, you don't really understand what that means, or besides the fact that maybe something's wrong, maybe something's not. Who knows? It didn't matter because my bridging room teacher was an angel. She was exactly what I needed. Her class, I really remember. I've always been... relationships matter to me. And I've always think I've ran on a very deep level, and I didn't really understand what that meant until I was older. But I really cherished intimate relationships, and I would befriend people in the school, especially my teachers. So Mrs. Brooks, I gave her a plant. And it was a zebra plant, at the end of the year after whatever, and we've had this connection. When I went back my senior year, because I went to say goodbye to all my teachers, she still had the plant, and she remembered me like it was bridging room. Look, Emily, look at this. Like, she remembered. So obviously,
that is so special.
It was so special. And
oh my gosh.
the fact that I could go from that, and I'm a giver, so I was giving from a very young age, and I'm a plant person, so I was a plant person at a very young age.
We are who we are. We cannot deny who we are, and it's so important to know that, to realize that, so that you don't fight against it. Go ahead. Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. Absolutely. So that was just...
that's beautiful.
One thing that I had with her that was really special, that I was able to circle back and feel in a later time. In first grade, I had a male teacher, Mr. Coder, I'll say his name, and he was, again, an angel that I needed in my life at that time. So we had a wonderful relationship to the point where after I left his class, he would send me postcards in the mail. Like I would run to the mailbox looking to see if anything, but just because of the friendship and relationship connection that we built when I was in his class at that time, and I still have these postcards. I'd have to dig them out, but I did save them because it meant so much that somebody was thinking of me or, gave me that attention or thought of me in that way. And it just helped kind of continue to form, I don't know, whatever I was forming at that time. I think, so my parents, so if I'll circle back to that, my parents separated when I was 2.5 years old.
Okay.
So there was, I think maybe why I was looking for these types of relationships was because maybe there was a lack of visibility of that in the home. Both of my parents did end up remarrying later. My dad remarried first when I was 8, and then my mother remarried shortly after that. So, but within that time, I think maybe I just instinctively was reaching out to the teachers to fill kind of this void that maybe I wasn't getting.
And that's what teachers did.
Looking up at home to what, when you do have the both parents in the household. So, but yes, so that, and then what I ended up finding out later in life too, and this is a fun thing to share, is in Mr. Coder's class, we were writing, it was Thanksgiving, and one of the projects was to make your wish. It was a picture of a wishbone, and what would your wish be?
Okay.
And my wish was to see my dad more, because he had, when he remarried and had moved, he ended up moving to Traverse City. We were only visiting and seeing him twice a year, maybe, just because of travel and school and everything. I guess my wish at that time was I wanted to see my dad more. I missed him. He wasn't, only being able to see somebody 2 times a year is, again, a little brain not really being able to conceptualize it.
Of course.
But that's what mattered. So I gave that to him. I must have mailed it or gave it to him somehow. And later in life, he told me that that was the reason he moved back, was because he had got that from me. And I didn't know that until I was older, much older, and he had been back for a while. But how cool that I did that then, and then to be able again hear that like kind of circle back through. So that was just really cool.
Oh, that was so precious. My God.
I know. And like to look at my dad too is like, and for him to tell me that too, it's so special. What a special thing, and like him to share that, him to say that that's why they came back and stuff. It just.
But you're so open. And it sounds like you were even open as a child. You were not afraid to say what was really in your heart. A lot of children might not have been felt free enough to even write that this is my true wish. And oh gosh, that's amazing. You're just you're an open person. So when you're open, you can receive all the goodness that the universe has out there, because it's always there. Too often we're closed and we block the blessings that are out there for us. So yes, continue.
Oh, thank you. It is so true. Yes, so then 2nd grade, I had a wonderful teacher, Mr. DeShazo. He helped open, I think I liked having male teachers because I had a female at home, a mother, but I just liked having male teachers. So I really enjoyed being in his class too. Transitioning into what we called later elementary, grades 3rd through 5th, I think are such a unique period for children at that development stage. In 3rd grade, again, I had another angel as a teacher. We had a deep connection, and there was we had a new student who arrived at the school, and so Mattawan was primarily a school of white children.
Yes.
And we had a couple black
Yes.
students and a couple mixed, but we were primarily a white school. And Sydney, when she moved, she was a black girl, and I loved her. I was like, oh my God, whatever it was, she was in my class, and we became instant friends.
Oh, wonderful.
Best friends.
Yes.
And like, so not only did I have this wonderful teacher, I now had this new friend, and I just remember going to her house, staying the night, and seeing a different side of life and culture and just everything. It was so much more than I ever really could conceptualize at that time. But now reflecting back on it, you just see how all these things were the building blocks for who you're going to be as you're growing older. So
yes.
I really loved like that part of the year was highlighted around her because our friendship really thrived. As we transitioned into fourth grade, I think we still were pretty good friends, but we weren't in the same classes as much. But my math teacher in fourth grade, I'll never forget, he was he was the teacher that everybody wanted because he was loud. He would make you laugh. You never knew what shenanigans were going on in that classroom. I mean, you just wanted to be a part of it no matter what was going on.
Yes.
He was such a cool guy. And I got him for math, which I remember one of the times in the class, maybe it was an introduction, he was like, we were going around introducing our names, or he was trying to learn who we were. And he goes, oh, your name's Emily? Do you spell it like this? And he went up to the chalkboard and he wrote M-L-E. So 3 letters.
Yeah.
He was like, do you spell it like this? I was like, well, now I do, because that is so cool. And thank you for like picking me out like that and being like, I was like, all right, we're cool.
A whole other way of looking at life. Yeah.
And so I've carried that MLE with me since that fourth grade experience. Like one of my best friends, who's a very good artist, created this beautiful picture in colored pencil, and I framed it, but it says MLE, and it's all her, like a purple M and a green L and a pink E or whatever.
Girl, you just have a charmed life. Oh my gosh.
Gorgeous.
That is so cool.
But that came from him, and I think that's where my love for numbers became, where I realized I'm good at this. He's pulling this out of me too. I want to be good for him because he kind of like raised the bar right away. And
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
If that was part of the inspiration for you becoming an accountant, for your love of numbers, because at the beginning you said, I'm an accountant, but I love working with numbers. And so by you having a male teacher, he was kind of quirky. He kept the things up in the air so you never knew where things were going to land, and he pointed you out for special attention, and he was a math teacher. Wow.
Yeah, it all came together for
that
sure
is
there.
So awesome.
Yeah, and it felt good to be good at something.
Yeah.
I'm not athletic. I'm not I wasn't like one of the popular girls, and I didn't come from a lot of money. So I held myself in kind of those compartments. And so when I realized that I had this kind of like, I was good at this, it was like, cool, all right, now I can run with this.
Yeah, I got a superpower.
And build upon that. So he is forever like, and I know there's so many more testimonies about this man and his impact on the different kids that went through his class, because he was just that guy. So, but it felt like all the majority of the teachers that we had in that school were like that, supportive, and it was a good environment. So, 5th grade gets a little weird because it's the transition between elementary and then like you maturing and going into middle school. So
fifth grade is rough for most children.
Awkward.
Very awkward because, you're like, oh my God,
Friends
hormones
groups
are starting
change.
and people, you're starting to develop a little personality, pulling away a little bit and trying to, where do I fit in? What's going on? So fifth grade can be rough.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so the just the tension of like, some people want to stay a kid, other kids are like already, it's just this weird mesh.
Yeah.
Having to get up earlier, it's just, I was ready. I always wanted, I feel like now looking back in my childhood too, I was always just trying to get to the next step. And I don't know why. I was always chasing something. I think in my life until now, I've really changed that mentality or compass within me that was kind of guiding me. But I was always trying to get to the next step in life, to get older, to get more mature, and to kind of fill into my shoes. So to
get started with life, to really get out there and explore life.
Well, to be independent, to do things for myself. My mother and my stepfather were close with people in the community. One of the people that they were close with owned the local bar right in downtown Mattawan. It was called the Russian Bar. And I mean, when I was the little tyke, I was like, Jimmy, you're going to give me my first job, right? You're going to hire me, aren't you? Because I want to work for you. And I want, I don't know where it came from, but I have an incredible work ethic that I've always had. If you work hard, you reap those benefits, and you don't get things out of life without putting the effort in and going for it. So
where do you think that came from?
I think it maybe came from just not having being financially aware of where my family was in the struggles that we endured. I think I realized that if I wanted something, I was going to have to get it myself. Or the wants. And I had my needs fulfilled. I was taken care of. But you kind of realize it's like, okay, I'm going to have to do a lot of this stuff myself. And I wanted to, too. I just was up for the challenge. So it's funny, Jimmy ended up selling the bar before I was able to work for him, but he took over the concession stands for the Mattawan Little League, and he hired me.
I was going to ask, so did you get that job? Yeah. So you really did get a job with Jimmy.
He was like, you're first on the list. I know I can trust you. And I could count money. I was good with money. I was good with numbers. I was good with adding and subtracting. It was like, this is cool. I can do this, Jim. I'm going to show up. He liked me. I'm likable because
indeed.
I think holding myself to a higher standard when I was younger, I was mostly because I had an older brother and sister.
Yes.
So if I wanted to be included, I better not act like a joker because then you'd kind of get kicked out or you're not included. Who wants somebody around if they're going to be annoying and
little crybaby.
Yeah. Instead, they're like, oh, that's your little sister? She's cool. And so it was like, that's rewarding to get that. Yeah. So I think I always kind of held a higher maturity because of having an older brother and sister. But then, adults could count on you too and stuff and would treat you differently.
Yeah.
So, so I knocked it out with Jim. I think a couple of years. I was like 12 or 13 when I did that. So he fulfilled his end of the bargain and gave me my first job.
12 or 13.
Oh yeah.
Girl.
Oh yeah. Running the Little League. It was fun. It was really cool.
I bet it was.
But yeah, so I've always kind of lined myself up with these challenges and just like I guess having relationships with adults was always important to me. Having kind of a higher level of maturity, I think, was important to me. So I did kind of feel maybe a little more on the outside of certain friend groups, or because the drama or those types of things seemed a little bit beyond me. Or I was beyond that.
Yeah.
However, it just didn't interest me. So
Good for you. Were you
yeah,
involved
for
in
sure.
after school, any clubs or activities?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't good at sports, so I
Okay.
didn't really ever challenge myself in that area. And again, I think because of our financial status, I kept myself where I thought, I just didn't ask for too much, or,
Okay.
it's nobody's fault, but just the fact that I realized if I wanted something, I was gonna
Okay.
get it myself or do it myself. And I
Very
didn't
good.
really expect a lot of extra to be thrown my way. There wasn't a
Yes.
lot of extra anyways,
Yes,
so we
yes.
all really had to do our part and
Okay.
play the role. And so I remember being young and just, it was important to me to, like, I wanted kids. I knew that. I wanted to have a family. I knew that. I wanted to be a good wife. I knew that. I knew that there were, I took pride in vacuuming at home because it felt good to me, and those were things that were like, when I'm older and I'm doing this, I'm going to feel fulfilled. And I definitely had those thoughts when I was younger, that just, again, being to the point that I am now, I can look back on all those and be like, oh my gosh, of course.
I see the pattern. I see the dots, the breadcrumbs that were.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm finally seeing them too and putting them together. And that's what's so
Yeah.
fun about this too, is because it's really cool to share to think about yourself
To
and
think
what
about-
you've
yeah.
gone through
Indeed.
in this way.
That helped you to
And,
get where you are now. It's going to
yeah.
take you to the next
it's
level.
so fun.
It's
So,
wonderful.
yeah, middle school was middle school. My 6th grade was good. I had great teachers then too, but there were like 3 different groups of 3 different teachers. So our big class was separated into these
Okay.
3 teachers. So
Yes.
things kind of started to get hubbed at that point. In 7th grade, I met my best friend.
Okay.
In 7th grade, she's still my bestie.
Is that right?
I love her so much.
Oh.
And we came together in 7th grade, and
Were you sitting next to each other because your last names were
No.
close, or?
we were in an auditorium, if I remember correctly. However it mapped up, we were in an auditorium for some assembly, and we were sitting next to each other, and there was a girl that we both knew with us. So then we met and introduced
Yes.
ourselves through that exchange, and then it was like, oh, you're cool. Oh, you're cool too. Okay, well, we need to exchange numbers, and we need to, and then so our relationship just really, and she may remember this differently too, because she can conjure up a lot of, when we're hanging out, do you remember this? It's like, no, I don't remember
No,
that.
no,
It
we
went
have
down that way,
selective
but I'm
memories.
glad that you do.
I'm glad that I was just talking about this
Yes.
concept with my niece, because I don't have any family who are still alive. I do have family, but not my brothers or my parents. And I lost my one brother. I'm gonna get back. This is gonna be quick.
Okay.
But sometimes I'm at home and I'll think of something that happened, and I'm like, I need to talk to my brother about this. And I remember he's no longer here. And he was the keeper of stories. If I didn't remember a story, the details that I wanted to try to remember, he would fill them in right away. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this is awful, because I don't have anyone who knows those stories, my family stories. But I says, no, it's not awful. It's a gift that I had him. That was what he brought to my life, that story. So I just have to focus on what I can remember and do my best to remember everything that I can about my story so I can give that to my grandchildren. Yes. Go ahead.
Absolutely.
Go ahead. So your best friend, you met your best friend in 7th grade.
We did. And
Yes.
I mean, the game was on. From that point on, we were pretty much inseparable.
Oh,
And I
nice.
mean, you always have the ups and downs through friendship.
Mm-hmm.
But, and then in 8th grade, we met another gal named Tiffany, and we became a trio.
All right.
And we were the three, we were like hippie girls. We all
Okay.
had long hair. We all were artsy. We all made hemp necklaces and hemp bracelets or wax string. We made jewelry together. We went camping and to festivals together.
Oh, gosh.
We, whose car were we riding in? Tiff got her license first, so it was her car first. And, like, where are we going? What is this? And so we became a pack of 3, which 3 is an odd number, so sometimes 2 would be together,
Yeah.
2
Oh.
would be together.
Yeah.
But then our freshman year, we met this gal. I met this gal, Ashley Darling, and so these are my 3 best friends that have been my best friends from that time, and I am so incredibly lucky and dear, and it's incredible as far as the people that I had in Madawan in school, because I do have some other friends that
Yes.
we weren't in school together but are still very close to me, and we had these that I do consider best friends and who have these special bonds. It's kind of focusing on the school and what we were in at that point.
Yes.
So, from that point, like, it was it was incredible to have those 3 women in my life, the support, the adventures, the ups and downs, just everything. And that's what made the rest of at that point, like after 8th grade, I kind of lose memory of the names of the teachers.
Yes.
Because I think I was getting whatever I was looking for in those intimate relationships with the teachers at that time. I now had this in friends.
Great.
And could develop and kind of go with that. So,
Great.
yeah.
That,
And then we were wild. We had fun.
We're going to run out of time. I'm going to have you back for a part 2. But what a charmed experience. I don't think there are probably some young people who have experiences like that. I think they're a bit rarer these days. With young people having gone through COVID, with young people having experienced cell phones and technology and the changes in the way young people are raised, and the focus of the teachers. I know I grew up with teachers who just loved on us. They would discipline us. They would, tell us, no, you're out of pocket right now. No, you can't do that. There were boundaries, but we knew at the end of the day, most of those teachers loved us as if we were their own children, and I just don't know. I wish that every child could experience that. A group of teachers who just really saw them as human beings. And as you said, your math teacher saw that numbers were important to you, so he was able to draw that out of you. My mom did that for me. She saw little things, little hints of things, and she would be like, okay, I'm going to buy you this. How about this? How do you feel about this? Oh, come on, you can do it. I see that in you. Come on. I was like, oh, you do? So we don't really know who we are or what gifts we have. We think we might have until somebody else recognizes them. And they was like, oh, you see me. I love it. Okay, I'm going to do more of that because I like shining. Great. So, when did you first fall in love?
I met...
Put you on the spot.
I met my husband when I was...
Wait a minute. That's the first time you fell in love?
So,
That's when you met your husband?
I mean, I would say that I had some deep, like lust,
Okay.
maybe infatuation. I don't
Infatuations,
really
yeah.
think it was love because I didn't really know what that meant. I
Yes.
didn't really have boyfriends or anything in high school much, but I had people that I liked or was
Yeah.
interested in, but none of that really developed into much.
Okay.
So when I met my husband, I was a senior in high school, and I met him through my brother was working for him, and because my brother's 5 years older than me,
Yes.
and me and my brother were really close.
Oh, nice.
In my early high school years, and we were going to concerts a lot. We shared a common interest in music, and there were concerts at Wing Stadium all the time and in Grand Rapids, and the tickets were cheap. You actually got a ticket stub, so it was cool.
Cool.
But we would go to these concerts, and so I met my husband through my brother because we were going to concerts, and we went on a camping extravaganza.
Yeah.
So anyways, so at that point I met my husband when I was a senior, and we were dating. I was staying at his house throughout all of my senior year. I was 18 my whole senior year, and my mother gave me the blessing. She loved him, and still, she knew he was a good guy.
Yes.
So, yes, after I graduated, I moved right in with him.
Okay.
So I went from home right in with him.
Okay.
We ended up buying a house together in Vicksburg, and we're still there in that same house from 2003.
Wonderful. Oh,
until
boy.
now. So 23 years later,
Yes.
we are still in the same house and now have children. And
How many children?
2 children.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes,
A boy and a girl.
My girl is going to be 16 in August, and my son's going to be 14 on July 5th. So I went into labor on the 4th of July with him, which is fun.
Did you have easy deliveries, difficult deliveries?
First one, not so much. It was tough. I just my body didn't really know what to do, but everything happened the way that it was supposed to, and I had a great doctor, and my husband and my best friend from Chicago was my birthing team, so they were both in the room with me.
Your husband helped deliver the baby.
They were both in there.
He was
with
the part of the
doctor.
team. Oh my gosh, that is awesome.
They had to be in the room. That was my support group. So. And for my son, too. So, yes. My son was easier because my body knew what to do.
Very good.
And I wasn't as nervous.
Yes. You've been through this. I know how to do this.
First time was scary. First time for anything, including this podcast, is always a little nerve-wracking because you just don't know
what to
expect.
Yeah. But you just flow. You just wind up flowing. Yeah. So how are the children like you, and how are they different?
Well, I
What do
think
you
that's
see
kind of
of
changed
yourself in them?
over time too,
Okay.
as they've grown. But I see a lot of myself in them and a lot of my husband too in them. I think they're really just a good balance of both of us. I think my daughter tends to have more characteristics from my husband, and my son more from me. He's loud and social and excited, and he has a lot more just natural characteristics like me.
Yes.
And she may be a little more quiet, or can teach herself how to play guitar, will sit in her room on her own and entertain herself. My son, like me, would rather be in a room full of people at a table hanging out, and she's okay if she's just in her room for 8 hours, So I think that's maybe the lines that they kind of took in comparison to ourselves. But the one thing we both agreed upon when we had children was music is everything to us in our lives. And when me and Rich met, music kind of brought us together.
I was going to say,
going to the concerts and
yeah.
stuff. And just across time, even when I was in school, it was like, well, do you listen to this band? Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Well, it gave us it's an open door to just communicate and find a similarity and break the ice, like an icebreaker in creating relationships. So we knew how much music meant to us. He was in a band. He played music, played guitar, and I love to dance. I'm a dancer, and so I'm just always, dancing, and we always listen to music. So when we had our kids, we were like, our kids have to love music.
Yes.
They have to appreciate music like we do, and they both love music.
That is so awesome. I have so many questions
parents.
I want to ask you. We only have 5 minutes left. So where'd you go to school?
So I graduated from Mattawan.
Yes.
Moved in with my husband.
Yeah.
And then I bounced in between some jobs, and I went to KVCC.
Okay.
And so it took me a while to get my associate's degree because I paid for everything myself, and I took student loans myself, and I paid off all my student loans myself.
You go, girl. Yeah.
But I had to kind of figure out what I wanted to do. So it took me a second to kind of bounce between some jobs. But in the meantime, I did get a job at a place called Studio 33 off of Portage Road, and it's a ballroom dance studio. I was 20. I wasn't even 21, and it was a dream come true. So no experience necessary. They taught you everything that you needed to learn to be able to teach your students, and that was...
So was that your introduction to formal dance? Had you had any other dance classes before?
That was my introduction
and now you
to
teach.
Formal.
I want to just jump ahead to say, in case we don't get to that you teach dance, and everybody who has been to your dance class, I got to get to your dance class, broke my toe, but that's another story. Everybody loves you. You have such a great class, but that was one of your first jobs was at a dance studio. They just took a chance on you. You just have this winning personality. I can come in here. I can make a difference. Hire me. I will be here every day. I'll be here early. Hey, hire me.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, you're teaching dance there?
For 3 years. Yep. I was there for 3 years. Yep.
What kinds of dance did you teach?
Foxtrot, the waltz, the tango. Those are the smooth dances. I actually am naturally a rhythm dancer. So the swing, West Coast swing.
Yes.
The rumba, the merengue, the cha-cha.
Oh, my.
The mambo. I mean, let's go. All of it was just so fulfilling. Fill the cup and it's just overflowing everywhere because it was just so much fun. It was so cool. Yeah, so what I learned there carried into what I do now, for sure. What I do now is I teach a dance fitness class, and I really got into that after delivering the 2 children and wanting to get my body back into shape. I needed to find something that was fun. And so I started attending classes, and then the torch was passed to me to then lead the classes when that original teacher decided they were moving on. They actually moved out of the state, so they passed the torch to me, and that was my opportunity to then start teaching the dance fitness, which is what I do now.
That is in addition to your work. So when do you teach dance fitness and where?
So I teach at Endurance Fitness.
Okay, Endurance Fitness.
Yep, right off of West Main.
Right off of West Main.
Yeah.
Cool.
And there's another teacher too. She's been keeping it going since our original gym closed in 2020. Everybody kind of had to relocate and find new homes, and she kept it going from 2020 to I just started teaching again almost a year ago.
Okay.
So I was out of it for a little while dealing with some things in my life and some changes, but yes, I got back into the group, and then I got back into teaching. So
that is
so cool.
wonderful.
Yes.
So there was a hiatus from teaching dance from 20 until you started, or did you teach dance in between? Did you go to dance classes in between you being what
So
you're doing now?
When I left the ballroom dance job, I left because I wanted to go back to school and I
Yes.
wanted to start a family. And the hours of operation for that job weren't conducive to that kind of trajectory.
Yes.
So I went back to school and then I got pregnant.
Okay.
And then I went back to school and then I got pregnant and then I went back to school. So I had to kind of finish
Okay.
things in the
Yes.
chunks and
Yes.
stuff. But so once after I had my second child, I found a Zumba class that was being offered at a local roller rink, which was awesome in my area.
Uh-huh.
And then that led me to finding the teachers at the gym called Family Fitness, which closed down in 2020. And so after that gym closed, that's when I kind of took the hiatus and everybody kind of had to figure out where they were going.
Yeah.
So, and then I jumped back in. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. We have reached the end of
that
this
went fast.
episode. I know. Is there anything you would like the audience to know about Emily? Anything you want to close with? Let me ask you, Emily, you're such a spiritual person. You're such an open person, such wonderful, contagious energy. What is your philosophy for life?
So I feel like my philosophy for life is to love unconditionally and really understand what that means. Unconditional love is truly seeing people and life and whatever this is in a non-judgmental way of just, we're all in it together. So make the best of it and be nice, right? And love. What else is there to do? Everything else, nothing is as good as that. That's like the ultimate. So whatever it takes to get to that is just remember that's to love unconditionally, to give unconditionally, to be not restricted and stuck in these things is just really, I think, what I try to live by, and to, take stock of what's in your life and really live with intention and pay attention to those intentions, because it's just, it matters. What you do matters. Every little thing you do matters. The smile on your face, holding the door for somebody, having a frown on your face, or just whatever it is, it matters. So aim high. Why not?
Aim high. Why not? Aim high. You guys hear that out there? And hopefully share this, like this, share it, send it to somebody else. This is one of the most uplifting episodes I've had. I smiled throughout the whole thing. I just wanted to hear more from Emily. So tell your story. Aim high. Love unconditionally. Be kind. It costs you nothing to share a smile with somebody. It costs you nothing to just ask someone, how are you? Say hello to somebody walking down the street. You never know what that smile can do for that other person. Remember, all stories matter. Share your story. Ask somebody else, what's your story? Sitting on the bus, ask the person sitting across from you or next to you, what's your story? Would you like to share your story? You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised the light that will come on in their eyes, and the light that will come on in your heart. I like that. I want to end there. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.